I used to believe the universe was silent. Not empty, just indifferent. The stars burned, planets spun, and life struggled in quiet corners of existence. But none of it had anything to do with me. I was just another human on a crowded Earth, working night shifts at a satellite monitoring facility outside the city. My job was simple: watch the skies, log anomalies, and report anything unusual. 99% of the time, nothing happened. That's why I didn't realize my life had changed the moment the signal appeared. It was 2:17 a.m. when the monitors flickered. At first, I thought it was just a glitch, solar interference maybe. But then every screen in the control room went black at once. The hum of the machines didn't stop, the lights didn't go out, but the data streams vanished, replaced by a single symbol. It wasn't any language I recognized. Not binary, not code, not anything human. It looked almost alive, like it was shifting slightly, rearranging itself when I tried to focus on it. I leaned closer, and then the symbol changed. It wasn't random, it was responding. To me. A chill crawled up my spine. "Hello?" I said out loud, half joking, half hoping I wasn't losing my mind. The symbol pulsed once. Then the speakers crackled. A voice came through, not distorted, not robotic, but soft, almost hesitant. "You're still there." I froze. "Who is this?" I asked. There was a pause, long enough that I thought the connection had dropped. Then, "I found you." Before I could respond, every screen went dark again. The systems rebooted like nothing had happened. No logs, no trace of the signal. Just silence. I told my supervisor the next morning. He laughed it off, blamed fatigue, and suggested I take a day off. I didn't argue, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something had reached across the void. And it wasn't random. It was looking for me. 3 nights later, I saw the ship. It didn't arrive with fire or noise, no explosions, no dramatic descent. It simply appeared. 1 second the sky was empty. The next, something vast and impossibly sleek hovered above the facility, blotting out the stars. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, reflecting the night in distorted waves. Alarms blared instantly, security scrambled, military frequencies lit up. But none of that mattered, because as I stood there, staring up at the impossible, I felt something else. Recognition and fear. The ship didn't attack, it didn't move, it waited. For me. I don't know how I knew, but I did. And then, before anyone could react, a beam of pale blue light descended from the craft and engulfed me. I didn't have time to scream. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't on Earth anymore. The room was vast, curved like the inside of a shell. The walls pulsed with soft light, responding to my movements like they were alive. The air was warm, carrying a faint metallic scent mixed with something floral. Alien, but not unpleasant. I was standing in the center of it all, alone, or so I thought. "You came," a voice said. I turned, and that's when I saw her. She stood at the far end of the chamber, framed by a doorway that glowed like liquid sunlight. She looked human, almost. Her skin had a faint iridescent sheen, like light shimmered beneath it. Her eyes were too bright, too sharp, glowing faintly gold, and her hair, long, silver, flowing like it moved in water, seemed to defy gravity itself. She wore armor that looked grown rather than built, sleek and elegant, hugging her form like a second skin. An alien. A princess, though I didn't know how I knew that yet. We stared at each other, and then her expression changed. Her composure cracked, her eyes widened, and suddenly, unexpectedly, she began to cry. Tears, real tears, streaming down her face. "It's you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "It's really you." I took a step back. I don't know you." She shook her head, laughing softly through the tears. "Of course you don't. Not anymore." "What does that mean?" She walked toward me slowly, like she was afraid I might disappear if she moved too fast. "My name is Alira," she said. "I am the daughter of the Queen of Vale Theron." I had no idea what that meant, but the way she said it felt important. "You've made a mistake," I said. "I'm just a human. I work in a monitoring station. I've never—" "You were here," she interrupted gently. 30 years ago." I stared at her. "That's impossible." She stopped a few feet away from me. "No," she said softly. "It isn't." They showed me everything. At first I refused to believe it, but the ship, the technology, it was all beyond anything humanity had ever created. And when they accessed my memories, when they unlocked something buried deep inside me, I couldn't deny it anymore. 30 years ago, I had disappeared. For 3 days. I was 7 years old. My parents thought I had gotten lost in the woods near our home. Search parties combed the area. They found nothing. Then, just as suddenly as I vanished, I was back. No injuries, no explanation, and no memory of what had happened. Until now. The images came back in fragments at first. A forest that wasn't on Earth. Trees that glowed with soft blue light. A sky filled with unfamiliar constellations. And her, the Queen. She was younger then, but unmistakable. The same golden eyes, the same presence that seemed to bend the world around her. She had found me, or maybe I had found her. I remembered being afraid at first, but she had knelt in front of me, her expression soft, her voice calm. "You're safe here," she had said. And somehow, I believed her. Those 3 days became something more. We talked, explored. She showed me her world, vast cities carved from crystal, oceans that shimmered like liquid starlight. She treated me not like a curiosity, but like an equal, like I mattered, like I belonged. And when it was time for me to leave, she didn't want to let me go. Neither did I. "I'll come back," I had promised. She smiled, but there was sadness in her eyes. "Time doesn't move the same for us," she said. "You may not remember." "I will," I insisted. She hesitated. Then she placed her hand on my forehead. A warmth spread through me. "A part of me will stay with you," she whispered. "And a part of you will stay with us." Then everything went dark. "I forgot," I said quietly, back in the present. Alira nodded. "The Queen knew you might," she said. "Human minds aren't designed to hold what you experienced here. She sealed your memories, to protect you. And now, she's gone." The words hit harder than I expected. "Gone?" Alira looked away. "She spent years searching for you, decades by our measure. She believed you would return, that your promise meant something." Guilt twisted in my chest. "I didn't know," I said. "I know," she replied gently. "She knew too, but she hoped." Alira took a breath. "Before she died, she gave me one final command." I looked at her. "To find you," she said, "and bring you home." Home. The word felt strange. Earth had always been my home, hadn't it? But standing there, surrounded by a world I had once known and forgotten, it didn't feel so simple anymore. "What happens now?" I asked. Alira hesitated. "That depends on you." I frowned. What do you mean? She stepped closer. There's something inside you, she said. Something my mother left behind. It's more than a memory. I felt it then, a faint warmth in my chest. It's a bond, she continued, a connection to our world, to our people. And our empire is dying. The words hung in the air. Without the Queen, the unity she held together is fracturing. Factions are rising. War is coming. And you think I can help? I asked. I know you can, she said. I shook my head. I'm not a leader. I'm not a warrior. I'm just, you're the one she chose. Silence. She saw something in you, Alira said softly. Something no one else did. I laughed bitterly. Yeah, because I don't see it. You will. They took me to the throne room. It was massive, carved from a single piece of luminous crystal that seemed to glow from within. At the far end stood the throne, empty, yet somehow not. I felt it the moment I stepped inside. A presence, faint but undeniable. This is where she ruled, Alira said, where she waited. For me, I whispered. She nodded. I walked toward the throne slowly. Each step felt heavier than the last. When I reached it, I hesitated. Then I placed my hand on the armrest. And everything changed. The world exploded into light. Memories, hers, not mine, flooded my mind. Battles fought across stars. Alliances forged and broken. The weight of ruling an entire civilization. And beneath it all, loneliness. She had carried it for so long. But there was something else. Hope. A single thread that ran through everything. Me. You came back, her voice echoed in my mind. I'm sorry, I whispered. You remembered, she said. That's enough. I don't know what to do. You do, she replied gently. You always did. The light faded. I collapsed to my knees, gasping. Alira rushed to my side. What happened? I looked up at her, and for the first time, I understood. She didn't just leave me a memory, I said. Alira's eyes widened. She left me her legacy. The war began 2 days later. Factions that had been waiting for weakness moved quickly. Entire fleets turned against each other. Worlds declared independence. Others fell into chaos. Alira stood at the center of it all, and somehow, so did I. At first, they didn't trust me. Why would they? I was human, an outsider, a relic of a past no one fully understood. But when I spoke, they listened. Not because of who I was, but because of what I carried. Her voice, her will, her belief in something better. I wasn't a warrior, but I didn't need to be. I remembered what she had taught me. Unity, compassion, strength without cruelty. Slowly, painfully, the tide began to turn. Not through conquest, but through something far more difficult. Trust. Months passed, then years. The war didn't end overnight, but it ended. And when it did, the galaxy looked different, stronger, connected, alive. Alira stood beside me as we looked out over the capital. You've changed everything, she said. I shook my head. She did, I replied. I just remembered. Alira smiled. She was right about you. I glanced at her. And you? I asked. What do you think? She was quiet for a moment. Then, I think you were never just human. I laughed softly. Yeah, I said. Maybe not. Years later, I stood once again in the throne room, but this time it wasn't empty. Alira sat on the throne, her presence strong, her eyes steady. A queen. And I stood beside her, not as a ruler, not as a hero, but as something else. A bridge between two worlds, between what was and what could be. I had been just a human once, lost in a silent universe. But now, the stars spoke, and I finally understood. I had never been alone.